there is a huge quality of life update coming to this game, War of the Visions Global, this week. There are many changes coming. Many changes coming, and we're going to talk about them today. The devs have released Frontline 3. That is the third dev letter to us, the gaming community. And one of the changes is an item exchange shop feature. We've got some hate changes, some raids, some faith is coming from into the guild barracks. There's going to be some guild battle changes. There's going to be some UI improvements. There's going to be some equipment changes. You really don't want to miss out on all this information. If you like the delivery system of this news in video or audio format, however you are absorbing it, definitely give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and come back and see us for more. And I highly recommend you watch or listen to this in its entirety without skipping around too much, because there's so much to go over. It is going to be a little bit long, so stick with me. Lots of really good stuff in this one. And of course, guys, welcome back to House Guys. I'm your host, Norgoz. Without further ado, let's get straight into it, because there's so much to go over. I don't want to mess around here. So the item exchange shop. In a nutshell, what this is, and I'm going to try and condense this as much as I can while giving you guys all the valuable information. The item exchange shop is essentially this. If you have, it's for job leveling items, such as the Jadeite, Azurite, Chromite, etc. items. Like if you have a sword and you need a blue sword and you need a blue ninja blade, you can trade for those, or you can trade up to a purple or down to a green if you'd like to. Now, the ratio of items is what's going to be different. If you trade equivalently, it should be a 2-for-1 based on the information that I have and the screen cap that they've got here. You can exchange down if you'd like. So if you have a purple and you want to go to a blue, 1 purple for 2 blue. Upward exchanges are going to cost you more. They have depicted a green for 5 green for 1 blue. So as you can see, the ratios may vary depending on, how far up or how far down you're going, but I think the equivalents are pretty consistent no matter what color the items are. So if they're purple, blue, green, whatever, as long as you're trading the same equivalent, so to a blue for a blue, it's a 2-for-1. I think that's probably going to be your best bet, especially considering if you're going to try and scale up, it's going to cost you a lot. You're going to burn through your resources and not have them for new units. If you're going to try and scale downward, I typically am probably not going to do that unless you're in a pinch, especially if you're looking at yellow and red. It's just not going to be worth it as much, because those are much more few and far between. So raids are coming. Finally, raid bosses are coming. They have a lot of really cool items to come with them. The bosses do level up and the rewards get more and more good the higher level that they get. They do. The first one is scheduled for 6/10, as we can see here. Now, they do spawn similar to the way that the Whimsy Shop does and Chocobo Fever does. So there's a little bit of RNG in that, but don't worry, they're up for 6 hours. So once you spawn them, they're up for 6 hours, and you're going to have multiple chances to take them down. Here's where it gets fun. Now, if you've gone into multi-quest before, and many of you have, and if you haven't been doing multi-quest, I highly recommend you doing so. If you go into multi-quest in the far plane, you're going to see there's 4 options, right, for your characters. So if you fill those out, you still can't use but 1. Now, with the raid bosses, you can use all 4 and go in by yourself. You can use 2 and have a friend come with you and use 2 of his or her units, or you can, or their units. They can, or you can go to as a quartet, and you can have 3 other players with you. They'll each have 1 unit. You'll have your unit, so there's 4 units total. It is with a normal multi-quest battle, but this is going up against a raid boss. So as you defeat these, they do level up, and when you go in and fight them again, they'll be higher level, and they have more items that come with them on greater rewards. Now, I believe that these raid bosses are typically going to be events that are going to have some type of events currency with them. The Final Fantasy XIV event was supposed to have one. We didn't get it, but JP did. It originally gave tomestones, so that was the event currency at the time. So I expect that that's going to be one of the bread and butter items that we're going to be getting, as well as others. And of course, the specific rewards that they're going to be throwing out in global will be released. More information will be released once that's popped up. As I understand, the JP spawn rate was originally kind of low, but I believe that's been addressed. So I'm looking forward to the raid bosses. That's going to be more in-game content coming for us, and that's something that players that have been playing for the last couple months you probably need. So really looking forward to this stuff. Really looking forward to the raid bosses. So again, these are all coming this week. I don't think I said that. These are all coming this week. All these changes that we're going to be talking about. There's some that are not going to be coming in this update, but I will separate those at the very end, as it also is separated here. So the anime trailer is going to be added to the game. It does include animated trailer with a song, all for love. It has Monster and some of the other characters of all of the different legions of different the banners and whatnot of the castles and factions and stuff. Really, it's actually a really cool intro. So if you haven't watched it, you can definitely do so on YouTube on the official War of the Visions channel. You can also watch it in game if it's already after the patch and you're watching it later. So, battle improvements. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Again, we've got more things to talk about in terms of like the guild barracks, in terms of other things that you want to, like the equipment. You don't want to miss out on all these things. So again, stick with me. Battle improvements. This is where again it gets tricky. Hate, decreasing, and increasing actions are basically going to change, or hate's going to be changing, so that actually actions you take are going to affect how you gain or reduce hate. So right now in the game, it's basically put Valve Love on your tank. That tank gets hit till they die, right? So you're stuck on an Engelbert or a Mont until they finally get wiped out. This is the way it's supposed to be happening, right? This, or rather, the way that they're putting it in here, this is the way it should be, is that you have a change of hate every time that you're dealing damage or when you're taking damage. So taking one or more damage from any unit other than yourself. It specifically states if hate stat is higher than its initial value, you're going to lose -2 hate. And if you're dealing damage, it's going to change your hate by +2 if your hate is lower than your initial value. So if you use like a hide as an example to lower your hate, that's going to change it. Adjustments to damage taken while casting. Now, this is kind of in the middle of all this, but I'm going to address it as they did. And I think this could have been worded a lot better. Currently in live, you take, I think it's 50% bonus damage when you are casting a spell, or when enemies are casting a spell. So free tip to those of you, if you're having trouble with the Iron Giant challenge right now, all of those mages, while they're casting, they take bonus damage. This is not worded very clearly. It states damage taken while casting that was greater than the normal amount will be lowered to the normal amount. So that's one of two things, and I think what they're saying is that we're no longer going to have a damage bonus, or they're trying to tell us that there is supposed to be a damage bonus, but the damage bonus that we were getting is higher than it was supposed to be. So we'll see I'll see when it goes live. This one I'm not 100% on, so I guess that maybe we're gonna lose that damage bonus while casting, which I didn't think that we needed to have to begin with, so I'm fine with it either way, to be honest. Abilities that increase or decrease the hate stat are going to be changed. So when using the same ability, the effects will overlap, and the effects turn do persist. And due to the hate changes, the stat fluctuations adjustments will also be made to the abilities that alters hate stats. So we're talking Paladins, Taunting Blade, Spell Blades, Taunting Spell, Ninja's Hide, and then the limit bursts from King Leoldness, Rob Horn, and Catone, respectively. Leonis Barrier, Majestic Prestige, and Fleet of Foot. Those are going to be adjusted. It's going to be harder to use magic. This is separately now. It'll be harder to use magic or abilities in their casting phase on enemy units that have already fallen. The camera work speed while KO'd units are on the field will be revised. So I believe what that means is that instead of like shifting all over the battlefield to people that are already dead, that's not going to happen anymore, which is great. Braver will not fall below 10 after a battle ends. So if you go under 10, I believe it should revert you back to 10, so that when you go back into battle at some point, you're no longer a chicken, which is great. Some units' battle voices will be implemented, so we're gonna get some more voiceovers. Multi-quest improvement. So when you're creating the matches right now, you have to set it up every time. Now it's going to be able to the auto and speed settings will be carried over when making subsequent rooms, so that's great. So no longer have to reset them over and over and over again. And you can kick members. So if they're sitting down, they've been eating a sandwich and just watching Looney Tunes for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever, and you're like, dude, I got to get rid of this guy. They got to go. You can kick them. That way you don't have to worry about, the other people leaving and then having to get new people because you have to disband the room. You can just kick the person that's a problem person. Guild improvements. Raising JP and bravery, or if somebody's comes in and, they just keep dying every time because, they keep making bad decisions or something, you can kick them if you want to. Guild improvements. Raising JP and bravery when entering unit barracks remains unchanged, so that's going to be the same, but players will be able to choose to raise faith instead of bravery if you want to do that. So that's going to be great for your mages, especially considering even though bravery will get lowered while you're doing this, there are more units in the game that raise bravery than do faith. Right now, I think the only unit that can raise faith, I believe, is still Fina. And you still have to raise faith by at least 4, or you get no upgrade after the battle is over with, because you only get 1/4 of the bravery or faith that is added in the middle of the battle. So you have to get at least 4. If you get 3 or less, you don't get anything. So you have several units that can raise bravery. Anybody that has Slash Samurai with the plus bravery, with the plus bravery buff, so I think it's meditation. You have Rob Horn who can do this. You have Sir O that can do this, and we also have Orlando who can do this as well. So that's 3 units. I believe that there are others out there, but those are the 3 that I can think of offhand that have that buff. So you can go in and raise bravery very, very quickly, whereas faith is a little more tedious. I've done a couple of mages and it raising their faith, and it's a huge, it's just really tedious. Some guild battle improvements. I'm going to highlight some of these, kind of highlight some of these. So the number of stars are the same. The victor will be the guild that has taken the greater percentage of HP from the other's defense party, and they're also going to adjust the offensive side's gauge information to change to the defensive party's HP percentage. So now you're going to see the percentage that's left over. And with that in mind, whenever there's a tie, instead of the tie being based on, for what I understand it currently, it's based on raw damage dealt, and now it's going to be based on whatever percentage HP is left. So whoever has the most health, that's going to determine the winner. You've also got the battle records button's going to be added to the guild screen. Now, hopefully, if that's not, so I expect this is going to show like the win-loss record of the current war, maybe previous wars. We'll see. I'm hoping, it is my hope that, if not now, in the future, there will be a replay button that you can click on to replay previous battles. If that's already in the game, I'm not aware of it. I have not done guild battles as of yet. That's the only thing in the game I haven't done. So a button will be added to the home screen. It's going to take you straight to your guild battle when it begins. That's going to be really convenient because I have a guild and I have gone through all these guild windows, and it's just kind of a nuisance. So being able to go straight to the guild battle window, and I've gone there and I've set up all defense parties and stuff, so I know what everything looks like. But as far as like that goes, that's going to be a huge for myself. I know it's less tedious to actually get there. Offensive sides gate, we talked about that. Players will be able to more easily select defense members with improved invisibility. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by this. I'm not exactly sure what that exactly details. Equipment improvements. We're here finally. Whenever you're trying to increase your crafting from +1, +2, 3, 4, 5, respectively, now there will be a chart that'll show you the types of the 2 items that you're trying to combine together. So like if you have one that's assault and one that's vital, or one that's assault and one that's magic, you will be able to choose between those 2. There's going to be a display showing the types, and you'll be able to select which one you want. So you have one assault, and you never get an assault again because everything else you roll is magic or whatever. You can keep taking that assault from level 1 to on up to +1 through +5, and you'll never have to worry about the RNG on that. So players like myself that have been holding on to some of these items and then some of these recipes that we haven't been using them, now we have the opportunity of increasing those item levels, which is great. Players will be able to sell, craft, and dismantle equipment that they are using or have favorited. Has anybody ever done this? Try to combine. You're like, I have this item. I know I do. Go back and like, yeah, it's right there. I'm looking at it. I can level it up, but why can't I do this? So an E will be added into the in-use favorited equipment on the equipment screen. So now you'll know what's being equipped just by having that. And I've always said like that kind of needs to be there anyway. Now with the equipment, whenever you try and craft them, you're going to be able to know exactly. You're going to be able to actually use that items that have been favorited instead of having it before. Right now, you have to take them off your favorites list of every single unit. You have to take them, unequip them from every single unit in your formation. You have to unequip them from every single unit on your companions list. It's extremely tedious and a huge nuisance if you're trying to craft. Option improvements. A function to vibrate the device at the end of battle is going to be added. And push notifications are going to be added for Chocobo Expedition and Guild Barracks provisions when they've reached max capacity. That's something that I think is a good option for people that like to say, like, oh, well, this quest is over if you want to look and see what you got, or if you want to constantly stay on top of Chocobo Expedition and Guild Barracks. Other improvements, there's going to be various UI improvements. They don't really specify. A companion settings guidance feature will be added. Now, how many people have added somebody to the friends list or looked at somebody trying to add them to your friends list, add you to their friends list, whatever, and you click on it and they have one unit and that's it, and all the other slots are empty. All these other elemental slots are empty. Are you really going to add them to your friend list unless they're actually your friend? Probably not, right? Now, for new players, not for players like you and me that have already played the game, but for new players, if you're new, welcome to the community. But newer players are going to now get a pop-up explaining how to do the companion settings, so that they'll encourage new players to set up a character for each of these types, because that's one of the major reasons of getting friends and trying to make friends in this game, adding people to your friend list, other than, of course, the gifting. Again, I know this is running a little bit long. I've tried to remain concise, but this is a huge newsletter, so stick with me. Future updates. This is where I'm going to separate this out. So future updates. This is something, these are not, everything else up to this point is coming this week. Now, everything from now going forward is coming in the future. Now, based on the timeline that they gave us, it was about a month and a half ago when they started talking about some of these changes that they're implementing now. So based on that timeline, I would expect these are going to be in the game within the next 2 months, or at least some of them will. So now going forward, these are not this week, these are in the future. So additional options during auto repeat. There's a lot of really good stuff for the auto repeat, and being able to add and disable and enable skills to be used during auto battle. So this is all really good stuff. So features to set number of auto repeats. So you can set like 10 auto repeats. Feature allowing players to set desired item and quantity with game auto repeat until acquired. So if you need 10 blue swords, you need 10 sword azurites, it'll farm until you run out of energy, or until you get those 10 swords. Now, here's the thing. Now, if you don't get those 10 swords and you run out of energy, if you want it to keep going, they're going to add a feature where you can automatically use energy restore when energy is low. I'm not personally going to trust this one. I'm going to steer clear of this one because I don't trust the AI not to just burn through more stuff than what I'm comfortable with. I'm just going to set up as much as I want. Like, I'll set up 600 or 900 energy or whatever, and I'll just be like, farm it. And that's typically what I do now. That's how I kind of set up limits. During battle, the auto speed and menu buttons will be regularly displayed, and separately later on they'll describe that the skip buttons will also be there as well. So if you're in PvP right now and they use an ability you can't skip, it'll take the menu away. Now that won't happen. That's great. Feature to turn on and off each ability during auto battle. I can't tell you how big this is. How many Mont fans are out there? Mont fans? Yeah? What about Ramza fans? Ramza? Yeah? They got stone throw. Don't you hate it? It's the worst. It's the worst. I'm sorry. It's the worst ability in the game. It just because the AI just won't. They love it. They love it. You'll be right next to somebody and they'll run backwards. They'll run like four moves away or 3-4 moves away just to throw it, chuck a stone at them instead of like running up and meleeing them. I don't understand that. Whatever. Once this gets implemented, that'll fix it. We have a new energy saving mode, so on top of lowering the graphics, you'll have another energy saving mode, which should adjust the display. I believe it's going to just lower the actual display brightness and whatnot. It's going to reduce after a set period of inactivity, so if you just have it sitting in your lap and you haven't touched it for like 5-10 minutes or whatever. Auto repeat will run even on energy saving mode, so if anybody's worried about that, it'll keep running. Other feature improvements, additional auto formation options. So when selecting auto formation, so when you click on formation, you select auto, it'll be able to choose whether or not they only want to set to the equipment, vision cards, espers, etc. So instead of like just equipping everything, that way in case somebody already has an esper or an item equipped or something, it's not going to try and do that. After transitioning to a quest from a reverse lookup, players will be able to return to the original screen by tapping a button on the top left. So that's good. this is one less thing. Like right now, navigating all of these windows is kind of tedious because you can't just click the back button and go back to where you were. There's only certain parts of the UI that'll actually go backwards. Usually, when you go from the missions list and you click challenge, usually when you do something, you can come back to that window, and that's one of the few exceptions where it's pretty consistent and it's pretty accurate. It's pretty good about that. So more ways of doing that, good. Players will be able to move from the equipment enhanced screen to the awakening screen one tap. Just like I said, more ways to get around the user interface, skipping extra clicks, extra pushes, extra button presses. Defense and spirit will be added to the unit stats display. I really think that needs to be in the game now. I understand how coding works. I understand programming. I understand that this is going to be a separate code from the global JP than it is from global, and so on and so forth. But this really needs to be there. There's no way right now that we can see what their defense is. All we can just all we can really do is just say, okay, so there's this and this and this, and maybe we can try and rely on what information people have that have posted from JP. But otherwise, we just kind of have to guess. Well, I've got +5 defense on this thing. Well, I've got at least that. This needs to be in the game, and I'll be glad when it is. Skip button, like I said, we addressed that. It's going to be available during guild battles and arena battles. Max level is going to be displayed on your next to your level. So instead of trying to figure out, oh well, I got what's my cap again, you'll be able to see at a glance. So that pretty much does it. That's the majority of everything. So make sure that you like, subscribe, come back for more War of the Visions global content. This was a news update, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and happy Monday. Happy Monday. It's a new week, fresh week, long video. It was worth it though. Thank you guys for stopping in. I really appreciate it. I will see you in the next one.